Okay, so Belle Collective has already started. I'm like, ooh, maybe 5 episodes behind, but we're gonna catch up and try to, get back in there. So this is season 8, episode 1, Under the Influence. Under the Influencer. Alright, so I'm only saying that this is season 8, episode 1 because Xfinity is saying this. Though it left off literally at season 17, episode 10, so it should be literally, I guess, season 7, episode 11. I don't know how Carlos, he be breaking the shows up and he go on that break for so long instead of just letting it play all out to the reunion and then start all over, so it kind of confuses all the numbers. But I'm gonna do season 8 because Xfinity says so. But anywho, like, it did start off from the last episode when they had this brunch to try to come together or whatever and get back on track as a collective. But somewhere along the line, I can't even remember if Latrice was here. I think she did show up, but she had to leave early or something like that, or whatever. She was done what she had to say and left early. But Tamra was going off, at this point, because Shantae ended up showing up. And with the Shantae situation, it was because, she's the outside noise that's coming in and starting mess, right? And for Tamara, that's like, she don't want to be involved with that because it's kind of creeping into her territory a little bit. And she already been through that when it comes to her and Marie, going back and forth about Damon and all that other stuff and who she messed with, all that crap. So it's like, I don't need no other person coming in here starting no mess, especially, with her, right? So she ended up leaving. And the rest of the girls stayed back. Shantae was there just to speak her piece because, it's not her coming in the group to start drama, because they can do that all by themselves. She always actually been here. And they showed a clip. She actually been here since 2019? Whenever the first season that the show was on. Was that the first season or second season? When Marie got the blonde? That might have been the second season. Yeah, she got that blonde hair. Always been there, just in the background, no speaking roles or whatever. But now that she talking, okay, it's a problem. Not to say that we're adding her to the group, she's going to be a friend of situation. But as we know, adding new people will always stir the pot no matter what. That's why we add them, okay? But anywho, Letitia kind of brings this dinner or lunch to a close and just saying how, the whole thing was to just get back on track. So hopefully moving forward with Shantae being around, because I guess pretty much she's going to be around as her friend, we're just going to have to learn to get along and, with each other. We'll have to figure out with Tambra and Latrice later. And when it comes to Latrice, her friend will be considered an outsider too, Amanda, right? And she was coming in starting mess. So it's like, well, we got to hold, pretty much, if we're going to call Shantae out on it, we got to do it the same thing with Amanda, which I think we kind of already did a little bit, just not in the way they did in this situation, because that had to do with all that whole Glendale situation. But yeah, so once we can get Latrice and Tamara back on that front, then I think we can move forward and see how this goes. So next we see Glenn. He at the attorney office trying to figure out the little posting up thing, because for him, it's not like, he just want to get some better understanding about what Letitia is on at the moment. And for him, he figured it out. It's not actually a bad thing necessarily, but it's not something that he want to do. But so Carrie meets up with Marie and Letitia, and she's inviting them to an event she's about to have for influencers to promote their businesses and network and things like that. And she's collaborating with, I think it's like she works with Black Girl with Vitamins or something, which I believe might be a sponsor or maybe part of the fundraiser or whatever's going on there, or the event, and collaborating with Latrice. Okay, so she's explaining all this to Marie and Letitia, and they was all cool and all, with the event and everything and coming until she said that she was collaborating with Latrice. Because, Latrice does her hair brand and, the restaurant or whatever. But we know Letitia, her whole thing is she is a brand, right? She got like 50 jobs. And why you ain't call her? So Marie brings us up. She tells Letitia, don't say nothing because I'm going to speak for you basically. And Carrie like, okay, well, you don't have to be trying to basically start no mess here because I'm inviting everybody for one. And for two, I just ended up talking to Latrice about it. And that's just, we just kind of fell into it. And I figured that, she was a good person to collab with. And I wasn't really thinking about, I should call it, Letitia and all this stuff or whatever, it was just, but we're all, we're all still involved, y'all supporting because the thing is, the girls of the collective group is going to pick 4 people out of, the people who show up to be like 4 runners up. And the winner will be picked by the organization to, give them money or whatever for their businesses or whatever, like that. So, everybody is involved. Really, it's just I didn't call you for, the planning and all that stuff. So I'm sorry about that. But, so of course Letitia, she take it like, okay, whatever, they did have the one event before. Her event was held at Carrie's restaurant. So it's not like we ain't never worked together before or nothing. But okay, we got other times and whatever. I'm going to show up and I'm going to support anyway. But this is Marie pretty much starting this mess right here. So with her starting this, Carrie like, yeah, see, Marie, you doing this just like you did with the Selena situation in Tambra. See, and that's what I was like, I probably should have rewatched a few episodes back before they started this, or they probably shouldn't have took a long break before they brought this back. Because it was, remember, I think it had to do with the whole thing about Selena's fiance. Was he cheating on her? Did he have a outside baby? Okay. And remember not Tambra, but Carrie or something said the fellas was talking about it or something. I can't remember how Tambra got up in it. But Marie was the one, I believe, I think she did bring it up at the dinner that they had. It wasn't like Carrie. I remember she told them what was going on so that it didn't just come out of the blue or nowhere, you know what I'm saying? Like she let everybody know. But I think when it came down to that little lunch before Shantae and all them showed up, before Tambra left, Marie brought it up again, to say like, to try to smooth things over, even though it was kind of already smoothed over. Because we figured it was the men who was involved as well, who was caught up in the rumor mill or whatever, right? So blame game was who said it or who didn't. So they going back and forth like, well, you said this and you starting it. And Marie like, well, then you need to tell me what did I say and when did I start the mess? Because it's you being the outside person. Look, now, outsiders, you new to the group and you ain't moving like we move, okay, basically. And you the one that's coming in the group, messing things up and starting all this chaos. It's not necessarily Shantae and Amanda by themselves. It's her too. So Latrice ends up meeting up with Tambra and Selena to get the rundown on the Marie lunch because she wasn't there, which I'm like, I don't even think she was there at that thing, but she wasn't there because Shantae was showing up because Marie told her ahead of time and she just wasn't going to deal with it. So fine, Tamara let her know that yeah, you definitely shouldn't have come because it definitely went left when Shantae showed up and I wasn't having it. So I left and I stood my ground and I stood up for you, and that whole getting out of character thing, I don't know why people always be trying to say that because if you do it all the time, then technically that is your character. So why you getting out of character? Okay, you was mad and you popped off. So that's just what you do when you get mad. That's not getting out of character. That's just you. So, and this whole thing about the outside noise just can't be involved. And she just don't want to, deal with that stuff because we supposed to be trying to get back on track, right, as the collective. But we can't do that if we got extras in the background messing it up. So we, before we let them come through, let us fix what we got going on first, okay? So she did let her Latrice know that Letitia agreed that, okay, well, Shantae can stay back. I ain't got to bring her around like that. That's cool. But I mean, I guess we'll just have to see what happens, really. Because then that's going to mean that Latrice can't bring Amanda around, which I'm sure somebody will bring that up at some point. And Tamara does, say that Latrice and her are actually really good friends. They actually known each other a long time. And when Tamara was going through all her stuff, with the baby and her dad and all these things, it was Latrice who was always there for her and, always calling her every day. So she just appreciate her and her friendship and vice versa, and that's just how, I guess, pretty much how the whole group should be, right? Just be like Tamra, I guess. I don't know, but anywho. And speaking on just the collective as a group, because it kind of is divided at this point. It's the Latrice group and the Letitia group. You got to get them two together to get us all on one page, okay? And I feel like with Marie over there and Letitia starting that mess with Carrie, they're keeping it divided because y'all trying to make Carrie pick sides. Like, oh, well, you on the Latrice side and you got to be on Letitia's side because she the one that brought you to the group. Like, man, see? Now you going opposite of what you trying to do. I thought we trying to come together, but now you making it people choose sides. And that's not what you're supposed to be doing. I thought we were supposed to not, pick favorites and da-da-da-da. But that's pretty much what you're doing. So Carrie goes to see Latrice at Goddess Length, or, Goddess Sweets, And it was actually her first time there, They just need to collaborate on the event and just catching her up on what she's been doing with Latrice and Letitia and let her know that, yeah, they mad. So just be prepared because they feeling some type of way that I asked you and I didn't ask Letitia. So, I don't really know what to do about that because I thought, it really didn't matter. We all still involved and who cares if I collaborated with you or not. But apparently it's a problem. So I don't know. We'll have to figure out how we're going to navigate this because pretty much with Carrie, it's like, yeah, we already got a whole bunch of crap going on with our own lives, right? Like, her and her businesses, and, her husband trying to switch jobs and stuff, and Latrice with her businesses, and do she want a baby or not, and Cliff, all over the place. Letitia and Glenn, they got what they got going on. Marie, her health and her business, her kids, really, because her business is fine, but her kids, stuff like that, But nitpicking and being like, over petty stuff is just girl, we over it. So we're going to see how this go. But like Latrice said, if Marie got something to say, then she going to have to just, she know where to find me. She got to talk to me about it. Oh, yeah, I just forgot about that because when Tamara and them was talking, Tamara, Selena, and Latrice, she was saying how maybe Letitia just like chaos in her life and drama. So maybe that's why she keep kicking up stuff all the time because she just don't know how to just be still. You know what I'm saying? Like she always got stuff going on with her and Glenn and who knows what be going on with her and her real friends in real life, So maybe she just don't know how to just be a good friend, but just because of that. There's just always something going on in her life. But now we get to the party before, everybody getting here and all that type of stuff. Latrice only provided the drinks and the food, okay? Champagne and charcuterie boards around the thing. So Marie and Letitia is mad about what? That's all I'm trying to say. Like she wasn't involved with all her businesses and stuff. Just helping out with a little bit of food, a little bit of drink. So the event goes on without a hitch, and it was a little bit different than what I expected. The same with Marie and Letitia, because they look like, what's going on? And I'm kind of like, what's going on? But it was, I would say, a small scale event. It looked like maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 ladies in there or so. Like, it wasn't a huge crowd or nothing. I thought it was kind of going to be like I don't know what I thought, but anyway. Um, and in order to, win this prize, which it was a grand ambassador role for the Black Girl Vitamins, I thought it was like a money prize, but I don't know. I mean, you're gonna make money with brand ambassador, so same thing, right? So either way, all the ladies show up and everything, looking nice. In order to win, she set up like a marathon of games, should we say? Okay. So the first one was, obviously introduce yourself. We'll call that a Lollapalooza if you know about Drag Race. That's the talent show. So basically, talent show. Show yourself who you are, what's your business. The second one was, I forget the name of the game, but I actually played this in my Jeopardy with my family, where you write out the first letter of the words to a saying. Okay. And, they did that, what's an example? I ain't got time for that. And it would be like IAGTFT or whatever, right? And then the last game was like a dance off type of thing where you had to remix or remake Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in little groups. So, okay, cool. Latrice was loving it, like, oh, this is so great, this is amazing. I like how she's thinking outside the box, which was cool. It was just a little bit unconventional, which, like Selena was thinking, like, yeah, this is a little different, entertaining, a little different. And Marie and Letitia was like, girl, this is a mess. Which Marie lets Carrie know once everything was over. We ended up picking down to the 4 girls. And we talking about it, like, what y'all think? And Marie like, this is a bunch of fluff. And that's how we go in episode with Latrice basically asking Marie, like, okay, well, I heard that you had a lot of things to say about me doing this whole thing, collaborating with her. So we'll and Letitia, she said that you gave, you had a little face turn up or something, you reacted. And of course they like, well, what did I do? What did I say? I was just saying that you should have, reached out to Letitia, to help out and, instead of you and this and this and that, or, maybe it could have been both of y'all. I don't know. But that's all I was saying. Like, she should have just, went around a group and asked Letitia. That's all. And Letitia's like, well, what did I do? I ain't even do nothing. Like, you can do a group with the Flintstones. I don't care who it be. Just, if I'm not a part of it, fine. Just I'll be invited and I will come and support. Okay, fine. I'm cool with that. So whatever, they kind of smoothed it all over from there. And then they kind of jumped into a little bit of a back and forth with Marie and Carrie. Because, they always got a little nitpick going on. And for the most part, it's always all fun and games. But Marie, on a serious front, is like, girl, you a flip-flopper. And I don't like that. You doing one thing and then you saying another. And with the rest of the group, let me see, I would say Selena was in agreement. Tamara, not necessarily in agreement, but just saying that, she just don't communicate well. And I think I'm on Tamara's side with this. Every time she try to explain something, which she does in the moment, but then when it comes back around, the story do kind of change slightly. Or, you know what I'm saying? So I'll be like, well, you did say that. Or, and they, usually roll the tape just to remind us. Because I'll be like, yeah. So, it do be confusing. Like Letitia has said. Like, it do confuse the group just a tad bit. So, with that, you just got to kind of just watch how you say things. And who you talking to. Because, of course, it's going back through each other. How we playing telephone, so maybe it's just the way you're saying things and stuff like that. That's what's getting the message misconstrued between everybody, okay? So we ended up smoothing that whole thing over because this was actually a good event. We did help out somebody, giving back to the community, girlhood, sisterhood. That's what it's all about, right? All in the end. So Carrie was like, cool, whatever. I'm glad everything did go off without a hitch. And a little bit of haterade at the end, fine. They can have it. It's just now, she just got to figure out how to get around. Look, how Moose is going to get around Marie. Because that's pretty much her main antagonist here when it comes to this show. But anywho, what was this? The episode 1? Yeah, so we got some other ones to get to. This is Belle Collective, and I'll talk to y'all later.